have a really beautiful medicine story for you that just fuses Joe's incredible words, incredible message together. It was 2/18/219, the summer of 218. No, the summer of 2019. It was a big year, 2019. It was the summer of 2019, and I found myself sitting on a hay bale in the middle of a road on the south coast of Brighton, on the south coast of England, sitting on a hay bale in the middle of a road that had been closed for a day, talking about an ever-changing world and talking about climate. And I was sitting there, well actually I was looking for somewhere to sit, and there was this, I looked over at these hay bales there in the centre, and there was this lady sitting there, and she looked over at me and she smiled and she gestured for me to go and sit, almost like welcomed me to come and sit next to her. So I did, and I smiled and she smiled. It was one of those smiles that you could feel, really come from deep within her. And she was sitting there peeling this orange, and she just gently was peeling this orange, and without a word being said, she then gestured and passed me half of the orange. And I remember kind of sitting there thinking, what a beautiful act, what a simple but beautiful act. And I remember taking half this orange, and again this smile that almost like enveloped and kind of like wrapped itself around me. And then in that very moment, the person speaking, addressing us all, as we sat in this big circle in the middle of this huge road that normally would have been so busy. Talk about what happened later. Winter solstice, when I get asked, what does 2020 bring? And Spirit's words were, it brings a cosmic pause, and hold on tight because there's a change coming like no other. When I look back on that, how relevant was that? Also, that act of sitting there in these hay bales in a circle in the middle of this really busy road. What would have been a really busy road, there was this pause, and we were sitting there, and this speaker, so there I am holding this orange, and this speaker addressing us all was talking about climate change and the food shortages to come. Okay, crop failures and food shortages to come. And here we are in 2022, and what are we seeing? And I remember like sitting there just blown away by the synchronicity of this stranger. We met as strangers, and we parted knowing each other. There was this shift, there was this special quality to what had been shared. And I remember sitting there thinking, how incredible was the timing of that experience and that event. There I am sitting on this hay bale, this stranger has shared this orange with me, and now we're being addressed and we're being spoken to about climate change and food shortages and crop failures. I remember feeling that experience so very deeply that it went in very deep. I was feeling very emotional, and I felt very emotive about what I felt was coming down the tracks, what I felt that we were heading towards. But here's the thing, on our recent Lammas ceremony and ritual that we held at my dear dad's land, I remember looking over at the altar and seeing just this abundance of beauty. There's abundance of flowers, there's abundance of kind of colour, and this long table of home crafted beautiful food that was being shared. And I thought to myself, that is what humanity is capable of. Humanity is resourceful. Humanity is resilient. Humanity absolutely has a way of being able to kind of come together and share those resources, just like the orange, you know. So as much as these things are happening, I also believe that the gift and the beauty and the magic and the alchemization within all of these times is that humanity can absolutely come together. But for the best part, for most of it, we've been led away from each other. We've been duped. We've absolutely been divided and we've been duped. But actually we have this innate way of just coming together, and, you know, all from grassroots. You know, it's not coming from the top down, it's coming from the ground up, literally coming from the ground up. That these grassroots communities are absolutely capable of so much, you know, from sharing skills, knowledge, wisdom, resources. You know, I'm really blessed to be a part of several communities that are really, really generous with their wisdom, their skills and their knowledge and their time. I think that's absolutely what humanity is capable of. And that's what, you know, Gaia and the innate, all those that are unseen that are moving around us are igniting us into, they're nourishing us into, they're nurturing us into that way of being, showing us that what we are capable of, showing us that, you know, the best of the past can be woven into the now. You know, the old becomes the new becomes the old, and we are capable of dreaming the new dream. So beautiful. Now, corn dollies. Those of you that are part of our lovely little community and joined us for Lammas, we wove these beautiful corn dollies, and they're really simple, but they are such a wonderful thing to craft and weave at this time. And those of you that are, you know, maybe not so sure about the crafting and weaving, I will put a lovely link to our wonderful toolsmith Elaine, who creates these beautiful bespoke offerings. And here is the corn dolly that we had on our altar that Elaine had crafted and wove. It is just absolutely stunning. It's just really, really beautiful. You see the ribbons there, and this, she's carrying this sheaf of wheat. Really, really, really stunning. And that sat on our altar and holds a lot of relevance for me. You know, it kind of in a way really anchors that medicine story. And also, you know, at spring, you know, I was gifted this beautiful message from her about hope, and what stories of hope are we cultivating around our fires. Very, very powerful words. But quite simply, you can weave and craft a very simple corn dolly, and this is four strands of wheat. And for those of you that are listening in over at YouTube, maybe consider joining us, maybe consider joining us over on Patreon. And I'm going to now just gently leave you with this.
To the wheat that we've been binding, and it's all about, it sounds quite barbaric, but actually it's all about the harvesting. And made a solemn vow, John Barleycorn must die. They've plowed, they've sown, they've harrowed him in, threw clods upon his head.